Hello, welcome to another edition of Prove All Things. I want to thank everybody who's joining us today, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, X, or watching on your phone or television on the CGI Digital Network app, or watching on our website. We thank you for joining us today. I am joined from California with co-host Mike James. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Jeff, doing okay? Good to see you today. How's everything down there?
Everything's good. I have a scheduled crown to be like fitted for and put a temporary crown on in a few hours. So never had it done before, so I'm a little nervous about it because I don't know what to expect.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not into going to the dentist and doing things with my teeth. I've been lucky. I haven't had any cavities so far in my life.
Well, that's
So,
good.
but I did chip my front tooth when I was a kid, and they had to put a little thing on the edge of my front tooth.
Mhm.
So I did have a little tooth work done in my life.
Yeah, well, I told the dentist, I said, "Well, it's not bothering me or hurting me." He said, "Well, you don't want to wait till it bothers you." I said, "Well, okay." And that's probably right, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll get that crown and hopefully things go well. And
Okay. Hoping it does, man.
yeah, all right. So
Yeah. Hey, I'll be traveling up to Vancouver, Washington this weekend to speak to the church up there. So I just wanted to plug that for the folks up in the Portland and Southern Washington area. If anybody is looking to hear me speak up there.
all right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so I guess today we have very special guest today from across the world, and we're having some technical difficulties on picture, but I'm going to bring in Mr. Robert Ansando. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing well, like Jeff, and it's a great pleasure having you again. It's been quite some time since we met last. I think it's been 2 years or some time back. So it's a pleasure having me again. And yeah, looking forward to having a very fruitful discussion from Kenya. It's around how many miles? It's around 13,000 miles. Something, it's quite a distance. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's amazing that we can even connect on this level of technology, I guess.
Yeah, it's great because I told my guys today that we're having a meeting, and they were like, "Really, a meeting with guys in the US? How you gonna do it?" And it's great having such a meeting, and yeah, and as well, Mike. So I'm a married man, so that's why Jeff is bringing this, and that's my beautiful wife, Jackie. She really takes good care of our family all the time. I'm traveling, and she's back at home. So we've been married for the last 30. Is it 32 years? 32 years, yeah. Yeah.
Wow! Congratulations on that.
Mhm.
Great. Yeah, hey, Robert. Good to hear you again today. We've had some feedback from folks. They wanted to hear about what the church is doing overseas, and I thought that you'd be a great spokesperson for that. So we're really glad to have you on the program today. And just give the folks a little background, since it's been a while since you were on the show, Robert, a little bit of your background history, how you got to the Church of God International.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Mike, I want to thank you so much because Mike was my mentor, is the one who ordained me, so he means a lot to me. and he had to drive all the way from California. And I remember very well, you missed your flight, but you said you had to come over. So
Yeah,
that
there
was
was
great.
some bad weather, and they canceled some flights here. But I figured I better drive out there. I had an extra day to drive, so I figured I could make it. So yeah.
And you made it. So anyway, I have 4 children. I think Jeff, you can show my kids there.
All
I'm
right.
blessed with 4 kids. My firstborn is Kevin. Kevin is 31 years. Dolphin is 28. Then Vivian is 25. Naomi is 21. So that's my team. Naomi is the youngest, and she's just in her second year doing second year in the university. She's doing agribusiness. She wants to be a serious business lady on farm equipment, farm products. So that is my beautiful family. Then you can go ahead, Jeff, and yeah. So actually, I was born a Seventh-day Adventist. My parents were Seventh-day Adventists. I grew up a serious Seventh-day Adventist. I did everything the Seventh-day Adventist guys did. I was a master guide. You know, the Seventh-day Adventists have various categories. When kids are growing up, they have what they call pathfinders. You know, at every stage they get trained and are promoted to another level. So I passed all those levels to reach a level that the highest level is the master guide, which means I was in charge now of all the pathfinders. So that is what I did. And in the next,
Is Pathfinders? Is that something like the Boy Scouts?
it's just like the Boy Scouts, yes,
Okay.
true. But you know, it's according to the age sets. So
Okay.
as you graduate, you go to the next level, and that is what I did. And we have very good uniform. You can see in the next photo. I was dressed up in this is the uniform that we wore, but at this particular point, I was working with ADRA. ADRA is Adventist Development Relief Agency. It is it's an organization within the church that supports relief when there is a disaster, and when they also want to go and preach where they cannot be allowed to go with the Bible. So where we used to go there with the relief and opening hospitals. That is what I was doing there. I worked in this organization for 10 years, and I was in charge of the Kenya on the Girl, Child, and Women Empowerment Program before moving over, changing to media, because I also worked as a media personnel. Seventh-day Adventist Church has a television station that is called Hope Channel, and I was the director, Hope Channel Kenya. The next
Do we have a
photo,
picture of that?
go ahead.
Do we have a picture of that on here?
Yeah, there was a picture that I'm broadcasting. Yes.
There you go.
So I was in South Africa. This is Helderberg, Cape Town, where Seventh-day Adventist Church has like a headquarters of 10, 11 countries. So I was there doing broadcasting, but I also worked here for some time before going to work at the East Central Africa Division, where you'll see the next photo. I was under the Adventist Media Center. This is the Adventist Media Center. That is the logo of Hope Channel, a television that is in very many countries. Like we have Hope International. Then in every country we have like Hope Kenya, Hope Uganda, Hope Tanzania. So that's where I worked before hell broke loose, because we could not agree on some point, and they had to send me back to Baraton University, and I discovered a lot of things, and they could not tolerate me. So because they could not tolerate me because of my questions, then they said that I was becoming heretic. because of questions that was some of the questions that I was raising. One was about the heavenly sanctuary, where the Seventh-day Adventists believe that Jesus moved from one apartment to another in 1844. And the question that brought a lot of issues with me was, I asked, well, I mean, if he went in 1844, the Bible tells in Mark 16:19 that Jesus was raised up and sat on the right hand side of the Father. And the Father's seat is on the Holy of Holies. So how come did he come out of the Holy of Holies to re-enter again in 1844? Then the next question I asked was, when Stephen was being stoned, heavens opened and he saw Jesus standing on the right hand side of the Father. So, and that was pretty early, you know. Then I asked, how come, where was Jesus all this time until 1844, just to re-enter inside again? So this brought a lot of issues, because Seventh-day Adventists has believe in two major doctrines that any other denomination or organization does not believe in. One is the heavenly sanctuary, and the next one is investigative judgment. Investigative judgment means that is the time Jesus started investigating, all including right from Adam. And you know, that is where we get if your name is not in the books, then you are removed from salvation. So basically, I had a problem with the investigative judgment. I asked them, I mean, does God really need to investigate Robert Onsando? He knows me even before I was born. So what is the issue of investigation? And I told them, this is not the ICC, investigative criminal, I don't know, the Ocampo, where people go there and you are investigating. It does not work like that.
Robert, you wrote a booklet on that investigative judgment, didn't you?
Yes, I wrote a book on that, and it brought a lot of issues with me, because the book that I wrote was actually about poison in the cake that led me out. Poison in the cake that led me out simply because what happened was they thought that everybody was asking me, why are you leaving Seventh-day Adventist? And I did not want to keep on telling everybody my story. So I wrote that book, Poison in the Cake. That means the cake is so nice, but there's some poison inside. There's something that is wrong inside. So inside that book, I talked about the investigative judgment and of course, heavenly sanctuary. So when this is why I had to leave the Seventh-day Adventist. And when I left Seventh-day Adventist, because they could not allow me, and they said that I was poisoning other students in college, and because I had become a heretic. So when I left, because I knew these guys would send me away, so I started Googling. Initially, I didn't know that there was any other church that was Sabbath keeping. I did not know that. So what happened, I went to Google, and upon Googling, I found so many Sabbath keeping churches. But I did what we call elimination method. Elimination method is, I really wanted a church that, one, kept the Sabbath, number two, you know, all this. I put down what we call standards that I really wanted. So there are others I didn't like their doctrines, but I came up with two of them. One was Church of God Seventh Day with its headquarters at Denver. Then there was Church of God International. For one reason or another, when I looked at the logo, I think Jeff, you'll put the logo. There is a logo in my presentation. When I saw the logo, I did, for one reason, I didn't like, this was Mike, of course. Then the next one is the logo, I think. Yes. So at one point when I looked at the logo, it was like, what is this? I don't like this. And then I said, no. Then I had to put Church of God International away. and went to Church of God 7 Day, and they welcomed me very well. They were wonderful people. I met Robert Coulter, Elder Robert Coulter, and the first time I met Elder Robert Coulter, he shared a lot because he had come to our country in 1975. And in fact, when he was telling me, it was just at my neighborhood where he had come and established a church. We did not take off because the Seventh-day Adventist Church at that particular time would not allow any Sabbath keeping churches to thrive, because they thought that if another Sabbath church comes up, then they will be deprived of some members. And the more members you have, the more tithes, and Seventh-day Adventist Church had, like taken up and owned the Sabbath. So everybody, even now, when you say that you are Sabbath keeper, people will always ask you, are you Seventh-day Adventist? Then when you try to explain them which church you are in, it takes quite some time. So it's something that happens so much. So, but when I went to Church of God 7 Day, they were very receptive. I loved the guys there. They gave me a lot of books. They taught me so many things that I didn't know. But one thing that, again, they do not have is they don't keep the feast. They don't keep the feast. As much as a few people inside, one of them I can say, John Classic. John Classic is a very wonderful man from Australia. He keeps the feast. And he told me, we kept talking about it, and he told me, you know what? One day everything will be okay and we'll be keeping the feast. But I was reprimanded as well for trying to introduce it into one of the training manuals for Church of God ministers. So for that reason, I did not
Robert,
peace.
I'm just curious. Did they give a reason why they don't keep the feast in that church?
So they said that the feasts were done away with. They are no longer essential. So that's the reason. That's the major reason. And when I asked them, then what if that is the case? Because Leviticus 23, the very first feast that is there is the Sabbath. Because according to Leviticus 23, verse 4, 5, when you start from 1, 2, they talk about the feast, the Sabbath is number 1. Then the second one, we talk about the Lord's Passover, which is supposed to be on the 14th of the first month in the evening at twilight, and they keep that. So I was asking them, why do you keep others and the rest you don't want? So, then they will not allow me ask a lot of questions. So then that made me go back again to Church of God International. I said, there's something I saw, even if I didn't like the logo, probably there should be something here. So when I went back to Church of God International, I was so excited when I looked at the doctrines, because there they keep the feasts and everything. It was like, they were reading my mind. That's when I contacted Mike James, and then the rest is history. That's how we started. I entered MAP.
Yeah. How long ago was this, Robert? How long ago was this?
This is around. It's now 5 years ago, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. But I was told again. Mike told me and the team that I must register with the MAPS. MAPS is MIP, Ministerial Integration Program, because then to fit in the system. This is a training that has been introduced, and it's a wonderful training because of they make you what we call servant leader. So I was introduced into that. It took me like 1 year. I don't know whether 1 year or less than 1 year to finish my whole training.
Yeah, let me just say it doesn't take most people that are in the program take much longer than Robert took. So he was very quick, very diligent student. He did well on all the little exams I gave him to test him, and he passed with flying colors. So Robert, once you became an elder in CGI, can you tell the folks what you then began to do in Kenya and what we're doing in Africa right now? Could you get into that a little bit?
Thank you so much, Mike, because that is where I was going. One, I need to share with people how Africa looks like. Africa has a population of 1.7 billion. The population is 1.7. I think, Jeff, you can roll up. There is a map of Africa. It's 1.7 million. In fact, we are behind Asia. Asia is number one with 4.7 billion. Then that is the map of Africa, and that's where I come from, Kenya. You can see where Kenya is. And we also, in Kenya, we have a population of 25 million. No, not 25, 50 million people. And Kenya is a Christian country because 85.5% are Christians, with 10.9 being Muslim. So when you go down again to divide the Christians there, we have the Protestant.
Somebody was talking?
Robert. Yeah, the Protestant in the Christian community is 33.4%, while the Catholic is 20.6%. And then we have the evangelical, 20.4%. Then we have what we call African Institute churches, 7%. These are churches that emanate from Kenya alone, not any other. So when you go down, we have what we call other Christians, where Church of God is in the other churches. Other churches is 4.1%. But I would want to share with you that the Seventh-day Adventist Church, as much as it is Sabbath keeping, is a Protestant church. And they have always said that we are Protestant churches. We are Protestant church because the origin of Seventh-day Adventist Church is William Miller, who was a Baptist, and Ellen G. White, who was a Methodist. So they call themselves Protestant. They're among the Protestant. So they are not in the other churches in Kenya. So the other churches, this is where we have the Church of God. Again, Church of God, even if it's in the others, we are a negligible number when we count ourselves. Now, I would want to share with you the churches of God that we have in Kenya, because we have the United, we have the Seventh-day Baptists, we have Kagwa, we have Church of God New Jerusalem, we have Mount Zion. So they are not a number, including, of course, Church of God International, and we also have continuing Church of God. So these are the churches plus others who are churches of God but worship on Sunday. So I don't put them in our flock. Now, among the churches of God again, there are those that do not keep the feasts. That includes Mount Zion and also Church of God Seventh Day. But the ones that keep the feasts include United Church of God, we have Kagwa, we have CGI and CCOG. These ones keep the feasts. And we also have others that are now coming up and they would want to keep the feasts. So those are the churches of God that we have in Kenya. Now, when I was first ordained, I was given an assignment, and the assignment that was ahead of me was quite enormous. It was enormous in the sense that I'm coming back home. Everybody knew that I was a Seventh-day Adventist, but I'm still keeping the Sabbath, but I'm not Seventh-day Adventist. And people would ask, how you going? I mean, why are you running away from the main church? Because they call it the mainstream church. These other churches are not called mainstream. But one day, one of the ministers who was my friend, very good friend, I was going to church and he was also going to church. Now, he met me at a gas station. In Kenya, we call it a petrol station. And he was like, look at this guy, he left the real church and he went to, a certain church that is not known. Then I asked him, which church did I go to? Then he said, you went to Church of God. Then I asked him, are you listening to yourself? Where did you want me to go? Did you want me to go to Church of Satan? And he was like, I'm in the Church of God, so is there a big problem? Luckily enough, in his car, he had what we call a church manual. Church manual, these are policy books that are used by the Seventh-day Adventists, and after every 5 years, they keep changing the church manual. And I know in page 20, chapter 2, the church manual is very clear. I told him to open his church manual, which was in his car. He opened the church manual. I told him to read the second paragraph in chapter 20. I wish I had put it on air, and this is how it read. To belong to the Church of God is a unique and soul-satisfying privilege. I asked him, can you read that and repeat? To belong to the Church of God is a unique and soul-satisfying privilege. I asked him, why did these guys forget? Why didn't they write, to belong to the Seventh-day Adventist Church is a unique and soul-satisfying privilege? He closed he drove away. He did not even talk with me. So
you got him on that one for sure. But let me ask you about the map, Robert. Why is Madagascar, Kenya, and it looks like Liberia, why are they in green on the map?
Oh no, there was a mistake. The green, Madagascar is not supposed to be green, but what is supposed to be green is Rwanda. I think when we were doing this, it's Kenya, Rwanda, and Ghana. Those are the ones where we have presence in. Sorry for that. I think,
that's okay. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I needed to clarify that.
Now, where you have those lines that are pointing to certain countries, that means we have at least some presence there, right?
Yes, where we have the lines on the map, we have our presence there. One is Tanzania. We have our brother Emmanuel Chagale, who is doing a wonderful job and is doing our translations and also trying to do like a voice on some of the 10 Commandments, videos. Is doing a wonderful job. And as we are talking, we have a lot of people who are interested. We have Rwanda, where we have Jean Cloud. Jean Cloud is in Rwanda and is also doing a wonderful job. Then in Ghana, we have Robert Owoso, who is in the UK currently, but he coordinates programs in Ghana. So this is where we have major, but we also have contacts in Liberia, Nigeria, DRC Congo, Zambia, Malawi, and probably I'll talk about it when I come to talk about the students that we have currently in our training. But basically, what I wanted to share is that there are a few challenges here and there. Just get to the next map, just to show you where I am. Now, Kehancha Division. This is where I'm talking from right away. Kehancha is a division in Africa, in Kenya, and it is in the south. This is southwest of Kenya, next to Lake Victoria, not very, very far away from Lake Victoria. So this is where we are. And this is where we also have our office, because we established our office for Africa, and that's where we do our operations from. The next clip, please. Now, we have very good roads in this country, by the way. And and just to tell you that at times we have several challenges. Unless you have what we call a four-wheel drive, then this is what I experience most of the time.
So,
And
Robert, where is this particular road? This is outside of the major cities, right?
yes, it is outside the major city, but not very far away from where I am, because the
Okay.
major city we have the tarmac. It is okay, but it is like 20 miles away from where I am, and we have worshippers, we have members, congregations in this area. So the roads are like, it's like you're driving through a farm, and hopefully we are going to do better. Now the next one is even a better one. Yes.
Okay.
This is a better one because there are times we use motorbikes. This is a major transport system here. So we use this because where cars cannot go, we use this. But at times the roads are just bad. And because, I mean, we are used to that. So basically, these are some of the challenges that we do face. And get to the next one, please. Now, I want us to talk about why we are here today and what we are discussing. There is what we call our government decided to regulate religious organizations.
And this
And
this
the
just
reason,
happened. This happened recently, right, Robert? The changes that they made, right?
yes, this is very recent. In fact, it's not long ago. But initially, they still had this plan, but it was like fast tracked because of one person who is called Mackenzie. Mackenzie is a guy, I think the next clip shows him. I just wanted to show you who this guy is. And there is what we
Oh,
call
wow.
Shakahola. Shakahola is a place where Mackenzie radicalized his members. And he told the members that if you want to see Jesus, you must fast to death. And the first ones to die were kids. They made it like it was a sequence. Kids to die first, then women, then husbands, then Mackenzie was to die the last one. So, but the radicalization was, if you want to see Jesus, you must fast. And there are people who took his word and they fasted. In fact, they were dying and they would be buried without the government's knowledge. So the government discovered this was happening. When it discovered, they went and started, exhuming the bodies. In one grave, they would put like 3 to 4 bodies there. But then the government, that's when it handled and decided now to set a tribunal to ensure that they want to know what is the reason of this. And the regulation of churches then started almost immediately because they realized that there were so many churches in this country, one, that are not registered, number two, that are radicalizing. So they came up with like rules that are supposed to be undertaken. The next one, you'll see how Mackenzie himself. Now, Mackenzie is the guy who is seated there. And he's still alive up to this time.
Is he still in prison? Is the trial still going on? Has he been convicted of anything yet?
He's still in prison, but the other day they also started fasting again in prison with the team that they were with, and they were taken to hospital before, because the sentence was supposed, the ruling was supposed to be like 2 weeks ago, but because of their condition, they were taken to hospital first. But he's still in prison, and
Hey, Robert, I have a question, a good question coming through. Says, does the tribunal review church doctrines and determine if they are acceptable?
Does the tribunal review church doctrine? No, what happened is they just decided the tribunal was to investigate Shakahola. Then the ones that were supposed to check the church doctrines were the Senate and the Attorney General, because the Attorney General of this country had already come up with some rules and regulations, but the regulations had not been passed. This only fast tracked.
So because of Mackenzie and his church, that caused the government of Kenya to push forward their plans that they wanted to document what's going on in all Christian churches now, right? In Kenya?
Right, you're absolutely right. It is Mackenzie who fast tracked that, but it was still in the pipeline. They really wanted to regulate, because in Kenya we have over 4,500 different denominations. If you come to Nairobi, for example, you'll find noise all over on Sunday. It is people, and this country, we do not have like sound regulation. So there is no soundproof. So they put their PA systems, and they are like competing. When these ones increase their volume, the other ones also increase. So it is noise all over. So that's what they.
Yeah, let me just say, Robert and Jeff, the most requests I receive, I deal with our overseas ministries for CGI. The most notes, the most emails I receive are from Kenya, much more than any other country in the world.
You're absolutely right, because it's been taken like, people. It's business. There are people who do this as business anyway. They do this as business, and because we do not have laws, anybody can decide to start up his church as long as he knows how to speak. He has a PS public address system, and they just go and start their church like that.
Yeah, Robert, we get people from Kenya who they'll reach out to church members, tell them they're part of the church, and kind of like scam them out of money and stuff. Have you dealt with any of that, where people just try to do a church just to scam people?
That's the order of the day. Why am I saying it's the order of the day? Because there are people who are internet churches. We call them internet churches, because their work is to go to the internet and they write, like we have an orphanage, we take care of children, we have so many members, so we need help. And, they take pictures of kids who, with tattered clothes and all this, just to ensure that they influence you to send money. And that is very common in this country. And that's the reason why it is very important. The government, but again, the government is also so reluctant in taking up this, because they have always been talking about regulating. But the challenge is, as now they decide to regulate, they are touching on churches, and the bigger churches, the ones that are so-called the mega churches, are capitalizing on this to ensure that they get rid of the small evangelical Pentecostal churches that are becoming a threat to them because of the deliverance. They have this, what they call deliverance and prosperity. That the challenge is.
Yeah.
But again, I would want us to see what the government wants to regulate or has already enacted to be regulated in the next clip, Jeff.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah. Now, when the rules are aimed at regulating religious bodies, that's fine. But they will also affect all religious organizations. It is not only the Christian faith. They are going to affect the Muslim, they are going to affect the Buddhist, all this. So, and one of the reasons why is what you've just asked about, the numerous small groups that have been accused of conning and brainwashing their followers or engaging in radicalization and other dangerous doctrines. So based on that, then they have a reason to enact rules and regulations. And it sounds like it is something reasonable. But unfortunately, that it may also touch on other innocent churches. So what they have done is new rules that require clerics to submit certificates of good conduct. In this country, if you want to do anything, you must have what we call certificate of good conduct. And it is only the criminal investigation agencies, like the CIA, here we have the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigation. They are the ones who write you this. They go through your records, whether you've been imprisoned, whether you've been, all these things, caught in any criminal offense before you are given this. So they have already decided that any person who is going to be a minister of any church must have what we call certificate of good conduct. And their theological training certificates. This is where the problem is. Because many churches do not have training institutions. And for that reason, when this was said, when they enacted this and it was passed as law, many of Church of God members, Sabbath-keeping Church of God members, ran to Sunday training institutions just to get a certificate. And there are very many people who have been buying certificates because then because they have to present those ones. That is the challenge that we are facing. So this was done by the Attorney General's office, and it cuts across the imams, pastors, rabbis, and any religious leader. You must have a training, theological training certificate from a recognized institution. Go to the next one.
All right.
Yes. So what they demand is they also demand that all pastors in Kenya must hold a theological certificate from an accredited theological institution. So the new rules, this was pretty early, 1 year ago. They have already been gazetted and they are in operation now as we are talking. And they were expedited because of the Shakahola issue. So what happens is, unless you have that, then they close down, like in Rwanda. By the way, let me give an example of Rwanda. Rwanda, you must have a permanent building where you worship. And you must also have a very good toilet. We call them toilets here. In the US, you call them washrooms. Here we call them toilets. You must have a good toilet. So for that reason, President Kagame of Rwanda closed most of the churches there. And all the ministers have gone back to school and to get a degree. They are not talking of diploma. They are talking of a degree from a recognized institution. That is what is happening. And it is going around, not Rwanda alone, Kenya. It is like something that will be in the whole of Africa, because it starts from somewhere, then it moves to the other country. So when we had this, that is when we decided to do what we call from Christian Bible Center. Before I go to Christian Bible Center, I want to talk about the next bit, that is the umbrella. Because the government said they want to regulate churches through umbrella organizations. Umbrella organizations, these are where many churches that have the same doctrine come together and register that body.
So that umbrella, Robert, needs to be within Kenya. Within Kenya, there's an umbrella organization, right? You're not saying that it has to be outside of Kenya.
This is Kenya. The regulations are only for Kenya. When I talk about, like, we have the National Council of Churches, we have the Episcopal, all these other churches, Pentecostal assemblies, they have their own umbrella.
So Robert, we got a great question from Life Lessons. You'll be able to answer it. Can you please answer that question, Robert?
Is the CGI ministerial program accredited? If not, how will it affect? Thank you so much. That's a good one. In fact, I was coming there. If you can just hold, I finish this. I'm coming there when I'm talking about Christian Bible Center. Now, about the body, is like we as churches of God will not join the Sunday umbrellas. So what we did when this came up, we came up together as churches of God that are Sabbath keeping, and we decided we needed to have our own umbrella. And we started it off very well. But again, when we were about to take off, the Registrar of Societies is a lady whom I know very well. We worked together when I was working for government, and she advised me not to be very fast because you must, the members of the body must agree on doctrine. Don't bring anybody on board. That was number one. Then number two, we were supposed to undertake some few steps. So that is what made us slow down a little bit before we go ahead and register our umbrella, which I think we will soon do that, because the government is going to penalize any church that is not under an umbrella. I think that's okay for that. Let's go now to the next clip, because when this came up, we had already started some few projects. One of the projects that I had started was the Christian Bible Center. Jesus was in this world for 3.5 years. And what he did was training, all the time training. So Christian Bible Center was only meant to train people who are interested in knowing the Bible. That's why it's about Bible. So as we had started this, it gained a lot of interest from people. And what we were doing, we were actually trying to talk about our church doctrine. Basically, the how do you call them? The STPs. These were the STPs.
Systematic Theology Project, yeah. our main doctrines, yeah.
This is what I was focusing on and trying to infuse the MIP, Ministerial Integration Program, on this, but at a lower level, so that people would understand. One, we have language problem in this country. Most people who are interested in knowing this are not the high-schooled guys. So we have to reduce it to a very low level. And there are those who do not, like in Tanzania, they don't know English. We have to translate it in Swahili. So this is what we did. And when we started this Bible school, it was only for certificate. So we had our first 20 students coming on board. The first 20 students started, but we ended up graduating only 8. Others withdrew on the way. Others thought it was too much. But anyway, we graduated 8 last year in April. And we can see them. Just go down and see whether we have our students, our first students. Okay, that is the Bible school. Go ahead, that's the Bible school. Okay, these are machines that were given to us by CEM, Christian Education Ministries, to support us in printing. The next one, yes. These were among the first students that we had. And all of them are from different, what do we call, organizations. Others are from UCG. We have others from, of course, CDIA. And that is how we came together. And even Seventh-day Adventists, we had one from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So these ones are the ones who graduated. And I'm happy that we had guests from the US when they were graduating. And you'll see some of the guests in the next clip. I was so happy. I really expected Mike James to be here and Jeff, but it wasn't possible. I hope next time they'll join us in our next graduation. So we have Linda Benton, who was among the team. We had Diane Webb and Mike Webb. So they joined us in our first graduation. So that's what happened. Now, just to continue and answer the question, because we were doing certificate, The government had decided now you must be accredited. I was given some standards by the Registrar of Societies who was doing this. This lady told me that what I needed to do is to go to our mother church and come up with what we call like prospectus that would show what we are training and the content that we are supposed to be training on. But they also told me that if we have any church in the United States or outside the country that is already undertaking the same training, then we could affiliate with the organization. I had contacts with Kagwa, where we have a training institution there. They do train, and also ambassadors in Cincinnati with the UCG. But I ended up going to Kagwa in McKinney, and they gave me very good documents that I used in coming up with our curriculum. Then the curriculum was certified. I was given like documentation from CGI, and that is exactly what I was told that I needed to use. And that is what makes us accredited. Our students are now can be allowed to go and work anywhere, because what we have is we qualified and we have the standards that our government wants.
Yeah, Robert, if I could just chime in a little bit to answer that question that the person had about the accreditation. Since CGI doesn't have a theological school like, say, a Catholic school or a major Protestant theological seminary, what we did was we wrote up in documentation that Robert was trained through our auspices, and we were confident in his abilities. We put that all into documentation, and then Robert used that for the Kenyan authorities to say that he was accredited by a United States organization. Is that correct, Robert?
You're absolutely correct, and that is exactly what they wanted, because the accreditation of religious organizations is not like these other organizations that undertake the other academics. And what they said that because of different organizations, churches have different doctrines, so they cannot really bog them down into the standards like the others. So what you wrote to me and the curriculum that I got and support from Kagwa and other institutions helped me register with the government. Now we are like accredited. We are acceptable everywhere.
Hey, we have a question. Have a question from Diane Webb, who says, "Will your first certified graduates need to repeat for accreditation, or is that like retroactive?"
Thank you so much. They have already registered. In fact, they are already in our class. I just wanted to say that we have a diploma class. Initially, I thought I would get only 20. I anticipated to get 20. I did not want to go beyond 20. But surprisingly enough, I have 60 today, one registered with us, signed up with us. So I have a class of 69. We have 21 international. We have students from Uganda. I have students from Malawi, Tanzania, DRC Congo, Rwanda, Burundi. And these students, what we do online training. We developed what we call modules. We send modules to them. They go through the modules. They book a Zoom meeting where we all discuss with them what they have read and understood. Then they have an assignment that they have to undertake before they qualify to the next module. That is for international students. But for local students, we have a class that comes to our office every Wednesday. So they join us and we share with them every Wednesday. There is another class.
Oh, I think we lost Robert. Let me see if I can get him back.
Okay.
Hey, Robert, we lost you for a second. Are
Okay,
you back?
am I back?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. So we have 2 more classes that I go and visit them at their site. It's less expensive because they are joined together in a church. They have the modules. They discuss the modules. I go there and correct whatever an issue is. So one is on Sundays, another one is on Saturday in Sabbath in the afternoon. So I have to move around, and I have people also who are supporting in doing that. So that is how we do our classes. And the class, we have 9 modules. The 9 modules, every month we have 1 module. So the moment they finish the module, we have what we call attachment. Would want them to go out. Even Jesus sent his students out for attachment. You remember when he told them to go and heal and do all this, but they only made a mistake because one day they found somebody, using Jesus' name, and they told him, "Who told you we are the only ones who are supposed to use this name?" So when they came back proudly saying that, this is what we did, we healed them, but we found one person using your name. And Jesus told them, if they are not against us, they are for us. So what I'm trying to say is we are also going to use internship or that so that they can we can see whether they have qualified to go out and minister in various churches.
Mm-hmm.
So what Mike, you have something?
I just wanted to say we can take that, we can extend about 15 more minutes, right, Jeff?
Yeah, about 50 more minutes.
Okay, so Robert, just keep that in mind to try to get everything in, okay?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that we are almost time bad. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now our what I had planned for when I was in the US last time, I got a few people and friends, and we wanted some of the students to be supported from, and there are people who are supporting a few students, and they would want to visit their churches, because if you're supporting a student, he comes to your church for 2 months or 3 months, then work within your system, then come back to graduate. That was what we had planned. But I'd only planned for 20. Now there are 68. I have to go back to the drawing board and see what we need to do now with the numbers that we have. So this is a wonderful project and is going on. And the next project that we have, go to the next project. Yes, you'll see Tabitha Outreach Foundation. This is a wonderful program that we have. And I would want to report to you today that we had the last hurdle and great hurdle that was on our way. We have 103 students in our school. This school supports orphans. And not orphans alone, but also the needy kids.
And these are real orphans, right? We've established that, right?
Yes. These we have real orphans. We have gone to their homes anyway. These are real orphans, and not orphans alone, but we also have needy kids.
Mm-hmm.
We also have needy kids. We also have kids who have both parents, but they cannot. When you look at them, the way they are even living, so they're fatherless. We have to support them. Now, with Diane and Mike Webb, they're the ones who started this dream. Mm-hmm. But they did not dream of starting. They had dreamt of starting a school, but not very fast. So what happened? One day I had visited, and Diane was driving me. Mike does not drive, and probably the reason why Mike doesn't drive. And yes. Robert Onsando cannot drive in the US, because in the US people drive on the wrong side. In Kenya we drive on the right side. So and this day she was driving at very high speed. Then there was a phone call from Kenya. One of the students had been chased away because of $50, which Diane thought that she had already cleared. And at one point, Diane banged the dashboard, of the car. And, I saw her very angry. That is the first time I saw Diane angry. And she banged the dashboard driving, and she asked me, what the hell is this? What can we do to start our own school? Because I was a foreigner being driven in that country. I told her, and I was scared anyway. I told her, it's easy to start a school, but I also didn't know how to start a school. But I was just cooling her down so that her tempers would go down. So from that time, she started pestering me. You said that we can start a school. You said you can start a school. And that's how we started this school. When we started the school, we wanted a school that was homeschooling. Unfortunately, homeschooling cannot work in this country. So we had to go out and rent a place. We found a place, we rented. We started bringing these kids together, and within 1 or 2 weeks, we had all these kids the way they are. And there were only 43 kids, the way she had said. That's how we started. And the uniforms that you are seeing, it's Diane who designed the uniform. We gave them the uniforms, and they're all boarders. They live in school. That was Form 1 and Form 2. Now we have Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and Form 4. They are going to sit for their national examination this year, the first lot of 32 students. I was scared because we did not have what we call Kenya National Examination Council code. We had not been given a code until today, when inspectors came to our school and they did not tell us they were coming, and they wanted a laboratory, which we did not have, a fully equipped laboratory. But fortunately, God closed their eyes, and these guys gave us a code, and now we are officially an examination center. And that was the last hurdle that was in front of us. So this year, we are going to sit, we have students who are going to sit for the exams. Let me surprise you once again.
Hey, Robert, I'm sorry to butt in. Life Lessons wants to know how they can directly help, I think, the Tabitha and your Bible school. So we're going to put your email address later at the end of the program for Life Lessons. But if they want to help Tabitha, do they just go to the Tabitha website?
Thank you so much. In fact, the website, the Tabitha Outreach Foundation website was here. It was on the screen. But what I wanted to say is, we are now registered. What we did an exam, what we call a joint exam of 32 schools, 32 different schools. And our school, a new school, was number 4 out of 32 schools.
Wow, great work.
Wow. And everybody was wondering, where is this school that is defeating us? So they are looking for our school. And this school is the only school that keeps the Sabbath and keeps the feasts, full feasts. And that is the reason why we are unique.
So on a holy day, Robert, on a feast day, like let's say the Feast of Trumpets, the children would be in church service on that day. Is that correct?
Yes, they are in church service. We have a church in the school. And it's a very big hall, very good hall. And at times I send guests there. At times the students themselves conduct their worship service. So we are also training them on how to conduct worship service for themselves. So what we are doing is, this is a unique school. It's changing the whole place. Let me tell you how it's changing this community. We have employed over 18 staffs. We buy food from the surrounding. And the kids themselves, they go out and yeah, she has just reminded me something. We baptized 17 students. We baptized 17 students during the feasts.
Wow.
The first feast and this one. So we are all inclusive. And that is where the school is very, very unique. They are disciplined kids. And when they go out with a good name. That's why Tabitha Outreach Foundation Academy is unique. And we have registered this.
Question, Robert. Do they when they come in? They don't know about the Sabbath and holy days? They're learning at the school. Is that what's going on, or do they already have a background?
Yes, there are those who do not know about, because when we pick these kids, we do not pick them from the Seventh-day from either the Church of God or whatever, but we pick needy kids. Some of the needy kids do not even know the Sabbath, but when they come on board, they keep the feast. That's how we start training them. Not them alone, even the teachers. And what I've done is I've programmed that every Monday, Tuesday, I have Form 1s at 4 p.m. We have a worship together. Then on Tuesday, I have Form 2. So I've been doing that, and the teachers also come for the same. So as much as one of the teachers was a Catholic, and he wants to be baptized, So I'm seeing this also growing and reaching out to very many people. So that's the uniqueness of the school.
Fantastic.
So you hope that some of these students will go to your Bible college at some point.
Yes. I'm actually training them when they finish. There are those who have already shown interest and they want to be ministers. So this is also another good avenue for us reaching with them. And when they go home, I normally produce what you call brochures. I give them brochures to take to their homes. So that makes it it's like they're also spreading the word to the rest. I want to show you how they look like in different This is one class. These are girls only. Go ahead. These are boys. This is the uniform.
I like their ties.
Yeah, their ties. In this country, you must have ties. And yeah. Go ahead. Nice. Now, these are games kits, And I want to appreciate one of the churches that supported us in buying this from the US. Yeah, these are boys. We have bought them balls and all. Yeah. Now, this is a very special team, and I wanted to share this. On the right, on my left is Mike James. No, not Mike James. Mike and Mike Webb. Yeah. So Mike Webb is husband to Diane, who is on the other side. They visited our country in April, and they had very good time for 1 week with the students. They ate with the students. They did a lot of good things with the students. Behind is Linda Benton from their Daily Bread and CEM. So we were having good time. I really appreciate what they are doing for us and changing lives in this country. The next one is also very important because I want to welcome all of you. This year we are having a very special Feast of Tabernacles. It is one of its own. I'd already almost when I was finalizing with the program of the feast, one of my pastors, the one we were working with, died instantly. So, and he was the one who was behind my plans. Well, then we buried, but I'm back. I'll give full details of the feasts in the next 1 or 2 weeks, because there are people who have already shown interest who want to join us, because we are going to have most of our time sharing with the animals. In fact, where I am is like 20, 30 miles to where we have all the beautiful animals of this world. And we would want to have the feast with the animals. We are going to feed the giraffes. Go to the next clip. We are going to feed the giraffes. these are the giraffes that we are going to feed. This is right in Nairobi Center. And we have.
Are we going to be able to have this information on cgiafrica.org later for people to find out about it?
Yes, I'll do that. Thank you. I'll do that. Okay,
great.
So what I'm saying is these giraffes, this is right in Nairobi Capital Center. So the first time you drive in, we must go and you feed the giraffes. Then we continue to the other side. Next clip. Yes, this is what we saw last time when Diane came. And these are elephants. So we are going to spend a lot of time with the elephants, have our feast with the elephant, and finally the lion, the lion, we are going to have them. And nobody should miss this. Mm-hmm. This is what we are doing in Africa.
Great work, Robert. Now listen, CGI helps support you, but those independent church folks that tune into our program, if you want to help Robert, if you want to help the school, the Bible school, or the Tabitha school, please, we're going to put Robert's email on the screen. So please send an email to Robert, and Robert will discuss any details with you if you are interested in helping to support the work that is going on in Africa and Kenya.
All right. Yeah, Robert, I mean, this is amazing what you're doing out there. We're just so happy to hear about the Bible Center.
People can get back to the website to view this program and see Robert's email there, the Tabitha Foundation email that we had put up for a while there. So those of you out there who want to help, please do it. CGI is a small church. We got a limited budget. They're doing a lot of things over there, and they need everybody's support. And Diane Webb, who's actually watching the program today, she's Tabitha Foundation head. She has put the email in the chat box there for anybody who's viewing right now.
Yeah, and we have the website for Tabitha Outreach Foundation where you can go directly and give to support what's going on there for the school. And I guess you can support CGI. That would support. We support the Bible Center, and there's so many things you're doing, Robert. It's just it's so great to hear about it, and to we need to get this kind of momentum going over here in the United States. What you're doing there, you're definitely doing a great amount of work. I mean, when do you have time to sleep? Is what I need to ask,
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mike and Jeff, for getting me on board, because again, this is an opportunity. I love this technology, except people did not see my face directly because I really wanted, to be seen by everybody, but that's still okay. And somebody saying we need to clone Robert, okay? So that's Dan saying.
Yeah.
So the school is already registered by the government. That's what I wanted to say. Tabitha Outreach Foundation Academy officially is registered and recognized by Kenya government. It is not easy to register a religious church, a religious school. It is not easy. But the only good thing is we have the freedom to do what we want, to worship, and there are many people also who want to join us. So I welcome all of you to join us. People who are coming for the feast. There are those who have indicated they'll come 1 week early. They spend time with the students. They play with the students. Then we join the rest of the feast. May God bless all of you.
Thanks, Robert. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank everybody out there who's watching, and we're just so happy to hear all the great things that are going on in Africa. And again, thank you, Robert, for being with us today.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.